Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hey, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network and the Kingdom Warriors Masterclass around marketing. Christine Dean and I will be starting us off today, and then we're going to have other guests jump in and kind of show some slides and do some different things that you're going to love because Christine, what are we talking about today? Give us a little heads up.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited. We're talking about all that AI and how to apply the AI to your marketing because AI is the end thing right now. I mean, if you haven't played with it, you got to play with it. Some people I know, there's been some controversy like, do I really want to use it or not? So there's all sorts of possibilities when you start opening your mind though. So if you're open to it, this is going to be fun.
New territory. Artificial intelligence is something that we don't have to be scared of. If you're an innovator, you're probably already playing with it. You're already probably making money with it. You're already probably making impact with it. If you're someone who's a little bit more of like, hey, let me see if it's going to work out, not sure if it's worth trying or if it's trustworthy or it's kind of scary, then this is the right place for you because we want to be able to slowly unpack what you can do to be able to apply this to your business or nonprofit. We work with a lot of causes and companies doing good in the world. Meganathan's going to be here to kind of go through some slides, and we're excited to just explore this. I can tell you this personally, as kind of Meganathan gets everything all rocking and rolling and ready for us today from the visual standpoint. I can tell you personally that I've been able to use some tools. I know that many of our other panelists today have been using tools, not only on the copy side, but the art side. So there's a lot, the visuals. We talk about branding as anything you can see and anything that you can read, right? Anything you can see, anything you can read has a branding component to it for your organization. So when it comes to branding, this is one of the most innovative, interesting, and powerful tools you could use to enhance your brand. I mean, we're seeing movies being produced right now. We're seeing all sorts of things happening. It's not going away anytime soon. It's kind of like a cell phone. It's going to be here to be used. It depends on how you want to use it and how quickly you want to learn about it. Okay, so we're basically going from the era of the typewriter to the computer here. Okay, so we're going. There's all sorts of analogies out there, right, Christine? But hey, Meganathan is ready to rock and roll, it looks like. And so we're excited to hear from him. So why don't we bring Meganathan on and kind of introduce him as our resident specialist. Hey, brother, good to see you. Awesome. Yeah. Yes, it's good to have you. And I know that you've been really diving in. You've even pivoted your company. Can you tell us a little bit of that story of how you went from, hey, this seems like a kind of interesting tool to, oh my goodness, I think I'm going to actually double down or triple down or go all in on these newer tools that are coming out?
Yes, thanks, Timothy. So since the last time I had spoken to the network about generative AI, it was just an information session for myself also. Until the work that we do as a digital agency is create these customized WordPress websites. And it takes our team at least about a day and about a week, I'd say, to get our sites up and running. And what I saw is that my 11-year-old was playing around with these AI tools. And he created this WordPress website in 3 minutes. So that shocked me to say, what are we doing wrong? So I immediately chose to pivot the entire company to be AI focused.
Wow. So your actual personal experience informed your business decision here, and you're just paying attention. And ladies and gentlemen, think about this. If we're all just paying attention to some of the things that are happening, and not all of them are good, but if we're paying attention and we start filtering what are some of the good things that are happening that are more creative, more innovative, more market moving. They might not even be just trends for a short period of time. They might be market moving for 100+ years. This might be one of those. Okay, so pay close attention. Meganathan, are you able to share some of those visuals today with us about what you have prepared? Because I want to use these as prompts, if you will. I know that's a cheesy joke. I apologize, but these no, I don't. I'm not apologizing. These will be good conversation points for us to kind of speak with you. And just to be clear, you are a real person, right? This is not an AI version of Meganathan Reddy that is talking to us, right? Can you tell us something that would prove to us that you are a real person today?
That's so difficult. I mean, with the tech out there, it's so difficult to really say who's who.
Okay, when did we meet?
It's a good question. I cannot remember.
Oh, I don't know if he's real. I don't know if he's real, guys. He's. It was a couple of years ago. We met through a friend, probably LinkedIn helped us
Yeah.
really along. And so you're nodding. Okay, I think you're real. So here we go. Please present to us, my friend, what you have learned in a short period of time, because it's all new, right? So in a short period of time, what do you know for sure is something to pay attention to? And how do we use this? How does this work?
Yeah, so that's essentially the talk is what this is about and how do you apply it in your business. So here we are to get to a place where we want to simplify this so that you as a marketer could implement these slides. And so when we advertise this, I spoke about three takeaways, key takeaways. One is boosting your employee performance. And so basically, like I've mentioned to you, is that we have staff on board. And what these tools have allowed us to do is to become efficient, to really increase their performance. I mean, now work that usually takes us 8 hours to do in a day can be done within 15 minutes. So that changes the entire ballgame. I mean, now we're paying for staff to do work for an entire week, which we now need to rethink about. So this allows you to be thinking about the future and how your business can change, how you can be more profitable.
Hey, Meganathan, let's talk about that just for a second, because there are a lot of people, and I don't want to interrupt too much, but I do want to interject some questions along the way, because there are a lot of people that are freaking out right now that AI and this technology and the automated this and all this other stuff is going to start taking their jobs. And I got to let you know, it's bothering me quite a bit that, half of my friends are saying, woohoo, this is exciting. Let's get more done. Let's use these as tools, almost like farming tools where we can use them and produce a larger crop. Whereas some people are like, oh my goodness, you just brought tools into the space that are gonna limit the amount of necessity for me, and that's not the case long term. It's a matter of how we pivot and how we use these things. So if you're listening to this and you're freaking out right now because Meganathan just said that what used to take a week now takes less than a day, or in some cases even hours, to at least get the basic draft finished, then please pay attention so that you can be on the cutting edge of more efficiently working in your space. Whether you're a marketing professional or a business or a nonprofit leader, please pay attention, because if you just pretend like this isn't happening, you will literally be doing things so inefficiently. It's a stewardship issue. It's an actual issue of time management and how you're leveraging your time. time is our most valuable resource. So if this can help us improve how we steward our time, then this is, I know, Meganathan, you're a person of faith. We can say that on this broadcast. That's part of who we are. There's a lot of people that have different like views on different things, but at the end of the day, you're a person of faith. You do believe there's a God out there somewhere doing some creative, cool stuff, and we're partnering with him in how we're doing that. So I just want to kind of set the tone. Like, this is something you definitely want to, especially as a person of faith, you want to take this and learn it so that you're not like overwhelmed by it later. Like, you just basically start learning how to cook the recipes. What are the ingredients? How does this work, so that you're not left hungry later and trying to figure out what just happened to me. Like, we gotta definitely step forward with you in this. And so thank you for leading the charge. Really appreciate it.
So in terms of your example, I like that, is that let's think about farming. When they used to do farming about 100 years ago, it was pick and shovel.
Mm-hmm.
Then slowly we came into the industrial age where there were new tools on how to be able to farm better, be more efficient, more productive. So essentially, AI should be viewed as a tool that can be used to become more efficient, more productive, and your business to be more profitable. Remember that you've got a set price point for the services that you're offering. Now you can be doing it in less time. So what I would encourage people to do is not to be afraid of this. Being people of faith is that we are saying there's nothing to be afraid of. We need to look at the positives. We need to look at how to take advantage of this, so we are positioned correctly for the future. So here with these tools, the AI tools, what needs to happen, and that's what the most difficult thing for us to do as human beings is change. But it's necessary to change. And coming to AI, we need to be able to be unschooled and reschooled, relearn. Because now, like I mentioned to you in the earlier example, I mean, a website that takes a technical person a week to do is done in 3 minutes by an 11-year-old. You know what I'm saying? That's shocking. And all he does is what we call prompts. And I'm going to explain to you about that. So quickly about the agenda, we're going to run through what I did in my previous presentation when I spoke to you, and go through a few examples of how you can apply this. Let's go to the next slide. So in this slide, I speak about how people are currently using generative AI tools, whether it's for email marketing campaigns, customizing their messages on social media. So there's a huge uptake that's happening in the industry currently, globally. So we as people that are in your small business or whatever business you're running, no matter what the size, you need to be considering using AI as a tool, or else you're going to be left behind. Let's go to the next slide. So in this slide, I speak about the generative AI landscape. And if you look in the research tab, that is what we're going to be speaking about today, ChatGPT, which was developed by OpenAI. But look at the various tools and the sectors that are available for you to be able to use in your business to be on the cutting edge and to be able to prosper.
Wow, Meganathan, I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we look up Meganathan, look up how to spell his name and look him up. Look at some of the previous broadcasts that he has done and how far we've come from the last. I mean, we're not going to revisit as much of the information that he gave last time, but we're going to use that as a springboard for what is happening now, because things are moving so fast. It's been several months since he introduced this concept to kind of our network, and others have kind of brought some of the more artistic side. Well, we're going to have one of those folks on here pretty soon as one of our guests as well in the panel. But ultimately, we want to springboard from what you've said before. Ladies and gentlemen, go look at the other broadcast that he was on if you want to learn more of the basic level of just like how to think about this, what to do about this. And then today we're going to go into the deeper dive. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, so today I'd like to speak about ChatGPT. I'm sure you've heard it all around. And so this should not scare you. It's just an informative session to make you understand that this is a tool, what they call conversational AI. So it's where you are able to communicate with the computer in a far easier manner. They call it NLP, natural language processing, meaning that we can now be able to communicate with the computer as you would with another human being. So that is mind-boggling, but we are at that stage. Going to the next slide, I speak about the different types. How would you then use this tool? And the way they use this tool, it's defined as prompts. Prompts are basically sentences that you would construct to be able to speak as you would speak to people. It's a similar way. You would then need to give them context on what you're trying to talk about, specify what is it you'd like to know, how would you like to have that, and that's what AI allows you. This chat GPT allows you to even request your answer in a specific format.
I was watching a Jordan Peterson video at one point, and love him or hate him, this is an interesting, and really those are the only two options with Jordan Peterson. But with a lot of these high profile influencers, it seems like. But the point is he made a statement. It was a good statement, okay? And the statement was, "I'm using ChatGPT in its baby stages as a digital assistant. I'm literally training it to help me and training the technology to be an assistant to me." And I thought that was a really good reverse of kind of how people think of these. We're going to use the word bots and some other things later, ladies and gentlemen, that there is some intelligence built in here, but the human mind is more intelligent, is 1,000 times more intelligent than any of these tools. So let's not go into this weird world of like they're going to take over tomorrow. Look, there might be a day when we're going to have to make some decisions. Totally get it. Let's not be stupid, but at the same time, we are still the smartest entity on the planet. So let's treat it as such, so that we're not hiding in a cave somewhere. And assuming you're here and watching, that means you want to learn about the prompts, the conversation points, and how to use this. And if nothing else, try using it as a digital assistant, as Meganathan is able to teach us today.
And I like what you're saying there. That term, I call it the virtual digital assistant. Or, people have virtual assistants. This is now similarly, where it's somebody to assist you in the work that you're doing. It's not your master. So in this next slide, I speak about the different types of prompts. There's open-ended prompts, prompt completion, and question and answering. So you need to understand you're not just talking to a computer that doesn't understand you. It's a conversation that you're creating. So if you think in terms of conversation, as we are talking on this particular broadcast, I'm giving comments, Timothy's responding in line with what I'm saying. He's not off the topic. And I think that's something we will learn when we start using these prompts, that we need to contextualize what we're saying. We need to be very clear and concise about what we're asking. Then we can get the input. It's back to the old days when we used to get involved with computers. It's GIGO. It's the good in, good out. Whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. If we were to go to the next slide, the importance of prompts, and here I talk about it. I talk about the quality of that prompt, the quality of that question. And in this, the more adjectives you use, the more detail you put into that prompt is the specific answer that you will get out. And that's where you will get the value.
So this is a different kind of NLP, correct? I mean, there's a lot of terms that have these abbreviations, and in the communication, marketing, and behavioral space, NLP oftentimes means something different. So can you repeat what that means for our conversation today?
Yes, so NLP in this context means natural language processing. So that essentially means the way we converse as human beings, one to the other, we are now communicating with a computer the same way. So it's using natural language.
Here's a great example, right? I mean, this is take a screenshot, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very helpful start, or at least a step in the right direction for you.
Yes. So in this on this screenshot, I put down what they call a perfect formula. Is that how do you really communicate with ChatGPT? So of course, if you think about it, even in the way that we would communicate with people, we would apply the first two, where we would speak in terms of context and then specific information that we would require. But now there's an additional portion that we can add to this, where we can mention the goal of the output that we want, and also the response format. When we talk about response format, you could have data in a tabular format, you could have it in a point format, you could have it question and answer format. That's the beauty. I mean, you can, it's even better than talking to a person that's an expert. You can now request information the way you would understand it.
So is it like basically because it's all aggregate information, it's like compiled so quickly and fast for you. Is it like talking to instead of talking to one medical professional for a personal thing that's happening with you, it would be like talking to like 50,000 at one time and then getting kind of a consensus of what is most commonly considered to be fairly accurate around that topic. Is that kind of what's happening like on the real?
That's exactly it. And here you've got the opportunity with ChatGPT to even question the answers that are given
Oh,
to you.
yes, that's right. Good point.
So
Wow.
if we were to go to the next slide, how do you effectively communicate with ChatGPT? So I've listed multiple here, and there's one like you had just spoken about is we have the ability to receive an answer from ChatGPT and even ask it, why do you say certain things? Justify your points. So it will now go through its database and give you perhaps stats of why it is saying these things. Out of the 50,000 medical professionals, it believes that 20,000 say this. And then you can even delve deeper. The beauty is that it's exactly like you would do with a conversation with a particular person. As you're talking about a particular topic, you can delve deeper and ask more questions. You can ask for a background information. You can ask for even this, where would you find this information, what type of sources they are. And so it'll help you in your research further. Remember that this is like Timothy mentioned, it's an aggregate of all the information that is out there, your Wikipedia, those sources that have where free information is. And so you would need to take this with a pinch of salt. You would not need to swallow this information and believe it wholeheartedly. I mean, you would definitely need to go and check it out.
It's like reading articles that you've read on a search engine or something. You got to know that this needs to be double checked. I mean, let's not make decisions. I mentioned medical stuff before. Let's not make life-changing decisions on one interaction with a new artificial intelligent technology. I mean, come on, right?
Yes. And so if you go to the next slide, I want to talk about role prompting. This is an interesting piece. I mean, here you've got the ability to ask ChatGPT to answer you as a professional, whether it's a medical professional. In this particular example, I talk about a marketing consultant, marketing coordinator for the company. And you could say, as a marketing coordinator, please give me your understanding of this particular scenario. And so that gives more context and more information to this bot to go out there and search the information that you would need. Remember GIGO. Whatever you put in as the detail and be specific to what you would need, then you would get the appropriate answer.
Put that in the chat box, ladies and gentlemen. GIGO. And if you remember what it stands for, type that in as well, because that's a point of learning for all of us here. Let's not give them the answer, Meganathan. You already gave them the answer before. Either put GIGO in or what it actually stands for. That'll help us all remember, and it also help you remember as well. So that is a great tip for actually a lot of things, but it applies specifically to this. Can you give us an example, Meganathan, of how you've used this either in your business or in another business? Can you help us with that?
So what I've done recently, a few days ago, I've been working on an online course and material for this online course. And in this scenario, I mean, here I use ChatGPT to get the content for the course. So we understand that courses are usually developed by instructional designers, people who know how to put this course material together. So what I'd used the tool via a company called Learns World, which is an LMS platform, and they have provided information that I'd used. And part of the prompts, I would say, as an instructional designer, how would I use and build out this course? And it's amazing what you would get. I mean, here you're getting a viewpoint that you are not familiar with, but what the industry is familiar with and what experts use to create their course material. So I've implemented it and I'm busy with it currently. So I can see that there's so much value in this. When you're able to create these prompts from a specialist point of view, that you
So
are.
let's be clear. You're still thinking, you're still learning and aggregating information with a tool. It's not that you've checked out and you just randomly put in some, vaguely interesting language. You're literally thinking as if we're talking to a smart data-based, a smart database, essentially, right? So you're thinking, you haven't checked out. You're just using this as a tool to assist you in thinking well and thinking better and thinking possibly more accurately or at least more intelligently. Let's put it that way, so that
Yeah.
you can kind of look at a broader scope of what could you put in this course? What might you put in this course? What have others put in this course? What do the top 10 professionals put in these courses? What does this happen? What does this happen? And oh, hey, I want to put a faith component into this course. How do I do that? Like all these different conversation points. It's like talking to a bunch of professionals and they're getting back to you. So is that what you mean by role prompting? They're like professionals you're talking to, basically. Is that what you're alluding to there?
That's exactly it. Is the ability to get advice from people you would usually not be able to speak to, perhaps of cost or availability.
Okay,
But
I got an example.
Mhm.
Can I give one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm excited. Okay, so check this out. We're starting up a little micro, like like a little micro business that's covered by the Giver Marketing Network, and it has to do with art and donations and nonprofits and all this. And I need to make sure check, but check. I talked to a couple of attorneys on how we could do this well and really bless some nonprofits and bless the artists and all these other things. But I needed to quadruple check everything from the US based tax code so that we could do it properly. And I talked to two attorneys, two tax professionals, a bunch of people. That was good. Those are people in my circle. Okay, that's great. Now I wanted to check all that information against ChatGPT as a professional in the space of art and nonprofits and rules, regulations, guidelines, all these, like the whole concept. It basically helped me produce a legally tight business plan because I'm talking to an aggregate of all these type of professionals. And is that an example of what you're talking about here?
That's it. So the idea is that you are now able to verify the information that you receive from your perhaps small network, but against a huge number of people globally that have an opinion on that subject. And what happens now is that your view changes, because now you're getting information that is applicable to your particular situation from multiple viewpoints. You could position it not only from an attorney's point of view or a tech's point of view, but others in your similar situation that have also been trying this route. And now you can find out about their experience on the same thing.
So you could even prompt it to say something like, hey, as an artist, why would I do XYZ when I could do XYZ? And then or ZYX. And then it would let you know what some of the common responses are in all the data that it has access to. And then you have to decide whether that's good information or if it's just kind of random. And there are times when these prompts do produce a little bit of wonky answers. Are we going to address that later?
Yes. So we're definitely going to come to that. And while we're there, let's talk about it. And like I had mentioned earlier, is that this will not replace who you are in your specific domain. If you're a digital marketing expert, a brand strategist, all this tool it's an assistant to you. Like we had mentioned earlier about farming, is that this tool is to assist you, because remember, you understand your domain. You should know what is it your final outcome is. So then what you would be doing is using the information to be able to get it out of ChatGPT. So on the screen, I've got their prompting tips and tricks, and I speak about the method that you would go through. You would prompt, get a response, then you would try again in a different tone, and that's the other advantage. You could have a response in different tones. You could have a response in a formal tone, a friendly tone. You could choose the different tones, and there's multiple.
You could literally say something like, what about this? Or what if I don't like what you just said? And what about this? And tell me something totally different from a different point of view. And you could be snarky with this technology. You can be funny with this technology. Give me a humorous version of this particular answer or anything like that, right? It's literally like conversing, correct?
That's it. And we need to remember that it's a conversation. So it's not like your Google search. You have to rethink how we'd be doing searches. And research is that in Google and other search engines, we put in a text and we get a whole list of information. But now with ChatGPT, we can question the answers that it gives to you. That's where the change is.
Game changer, friends. Ladies and gentlemen, put something in the chat box that you're learning right now, because there's some little nuggets that are just dropping along the way here. And I know we got a panel that's going to come in a little later and ask more questions to us humans, and we're going to have some fun about it. But then you can also go back and double check our questions and answers with ChatGPT or some other AI tool that you prefer. And I might mention one or two later too. But before we get into all that, let's rock through some of these other slides and then bring in our panelists, Meganathan.
Okay, great. So going through the use cases, because you are digital marketers, I mean, there's various areas that you can apply ChatGPT. I've mentioned a few about copywriting, generating product descriptions. Of course, you know about email campaigns. And so if we go to the next slide, I would like to get to the examples, and then we could get to the panel discussions.
Okay.
I mean, what's on the screen currently is just some. I mean, it's a very small part of what we do as digital marketers. Whether you want
piece of a piece, right? It's just a part of a part of a part, right?
That's it. It's only a part. So in order for me to summarize all this information into these 20 plus slides, I mean, it's difficult. So there's so much out there. I will encourage you while we are here that you take time to do your research. And also, please, I don't know how many of you have got a ChatGPT account and have tried this out, but I would encourage you to please try it out if you haven't. That's number one. Two, by the things that I'm saying, see how you can apply it to your specific domain. And even some of the most difficult parts, like what I've got on the screen currently is regular expressions. If you've ever dealt with analytic reports like Google Search Console or analytics, this is one of the most challenging parts. And so here, usually, I mean, I've been in this development space for about 20 years now. Even from the coding side, we use regular expressions. We call it regex. And it gives the developers a hard time. So how much more others? So what we use is here, ChatGPT gives you an answer in seconds if you are specific for what you're looking for, in the format you're looking. Look at the prompt.
You're so nerdy, bro. You're so nerdy. I love this stuff.
So yeah, we go on and generating audience personas. I mean, we all understand that we're interested in our target markets. So if you don't understand your particular client's industry, you could go to ChatGPT, request the personas of that particular audience or that particular industry. And here you've got a listing that ChatGPT will come to you that will blow your mind, because it's thinking holistically about that particular industry, that business. So after spending time with ChatGPT, you can go back to your client as an expert on his industry. If we were to go to the next one, of course, we know about writing content. So ad copy, each one of us understand the value of ad copy. And here again, the GIGO principle. You would need to be very clear about what you would want as your ad copy. You would want something catchy. You would want something creative. You would need to think and play around with this. This is where it's going to take you some time.
I bet you half the posts and half the ads we're seeing have some help or assistance happening with them in some way right now as we speak. So it's not like this is happen. It's going to happen. It's already happening. Like some of the things we could take the copy from this live broadcast and we could turn it into all sorts of other content. So it happens so fast. We blink and now there's tools that we didn't have like a year and a half ago. Like it's just like insane, super interesting. All right, so we got technical SEO. You could talk about this for hours. I know you could because of of your background, but let's just sum it up really quick. Like if you're doing any kind of search engine optimization at all,
yes,
please do yourself a favor and listen to Meganathan or ask him some questions or call him or contact him or just play around with it and then contact him. He'll give you some tips and some ideas to be able to really efficiently. There's some companies that are they're going 1,000x with their actual productivity in just this space alone because of what you're saying and these kind of things, right? Meganathan,
yes,
is that correct? Okay.
absolutely. So it's saving us a lot of time. Like I had mentioned, coming from the tech background, I know it takes us a long time to get some of this work done, but ChatGPT is simplifying that, reducing the time and increasing profitability.
And it's just helping us all really do some things that we normally at least couldn't do well or we're unaware of how to even start. It's if nothing else, it at least gets us going in the right direction. Then we can bring in others to kind of bring that human brilliance to whatever's happening and then kind of edit it or change it a little bit or make it a little bit more to our own particular style or something like that. And even then we're going to be talking to digital virtual assistants, artificial virtual assistants on the real. Like this is just the beginning. We're typing in prompts. There are probably already tools where we're going to be talking to an actual through a microphone to some kind of tool, and it's going to be talking back until it finally produces something. So we're just in the beginning stages of this. We're going to be talking to our cars. They're going to be artificially intelligent. Like, hey, what's the fastest route to this? If I were to have as many stops as I wanted with my kids and have as many fun places to visit with, we're going to be using all this stuff in our vehicles and our phone, our computer, anything with a computer in it's going to have some kind of assistant that's going to help us. So, hey, how do people get a hold of you, Meganathan, before we get into our panel discussion?
Yeah, so we've got some of the information on the screen, but Christine, just for a second, could we go one slide back? I want to give something away. Is that this is giver marketing? We are big on giving. So this tool is a free Google Chrome tool, which essentially is a prompt library. So here have been experts that have been using this, that are looking at ways of creating these prompts that are effective and efficient. So this is a library that you could use specifically for different tasks, and it will shorten the space of learning about these prompts and also implementing for your success.
So whether you're using Midjourney or ChatGPT or Bard or any of these tools, this one will help and assist you in developing what you really are hoping for from these resources, correct?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, AI, PRM. I already looked it up. I'm already on it, Meganathan. And I'm telling you, I may not have a ton of time to sit down and just learn just this, but I need to know at least what's going on so that when I'm going to make a prediction. I think that every company is going to have an AI specialist or an intern or a manager or a content manager, some version of an AI specialist in-house on their team. I think that's how important this is. It's almost like we now have social media specialists or tech IT professionals on our teams as companies now as we grow. I believe this is going to be one of those categories that instantly became a thing. Like this is for every job that was lost, there's going to be 3 that are created. Just think about it that way, and you'll be able to kind of pivot and start using this as a part of your package or a part of your skill set. So fun. Meganathan, this is awesome. Let's bring in some of our panelists and grab your gift, my friends. Grab your gift and then, okay, screenshot it. There it is. Okay, somebody put the letters of that gift in the comments so that we all can remember what Meganathan gave to us today at no cost. So thankful for kind of just opening the door to some of these tools. There's 1,000 free tools out there, but not all of them are good. Some of them start charging you for things they didn't even ask you. But this one, it sounds like, is pretty safe and good one to start with, right, Meganathan?
Yeah.
Good. And then, of course, you can look up Meganathan Reddy, Reddy, on all social media platforms. Find him, ask him questions, mention the word giver or KW for Kingdom Warriors. Let him know that you were on one of the broadcasts or you saw him on the broadcast and you'd like to ask him some questions, and be sure to ask him whether he's an AI person or a real person, because we're still trying to figure this out, who we're talking to here. I'm pretty sure he's human and he's the real deal. So that's exciting. Hey, what questions do we have for Meganathan and Christine? Can you guide us through this part of the presentation?
Absolutely. We had all sorts of comments coming through. I got to scroll way back because this is a topic that's got a lot of people excited here. So talking about some of the comments about true, but generated info needs a lot of editing. What do you think about that one?
Good question.
Pardon, repeat that.
They're saying that a lot of times they need a lot of editing, and why it doesn't come out perfect.
I think it's exactly like I said. It's conversational, and it's GIGO. It's got to do with the way that you're asking these questions. I think that's why I talk about the perfect prompt formula, understanding the context, understanding your intent, what is it that you want out, and what format you want the content. And then question that content, question the response that you receive.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's go into a discussion here. And I know that Meganathan is going to probably be able to answer these questions either in the chat or verbally, just depending on how things go on his end. So that'll be good. Christine, let's just have some conversation here with the panel around what they have been learning. Maybe let's start with Oz, because he's on the art side of things.
Yeah.
And I get kind of like super excited when I talk to Oz and Joel, and we have 2 Joels on the panel today, so this will be fun. Joel, if you can put your last name in your profile, then people will be able to look you up and just connect with you that way. That'll be great. Oz, what are you thinking here? Like, help us with the art side of this conversation. Super interesting.
Well, it's kind of all related, because when you talk about prompts, and thank you, Meganathan. Boy, do I have connections for you. We're going to change the world with the connections I just have from Meganathan. When you talk about prompts, and I just very, very shortly saw the question, Christine, that you would put up, that AI generated art is less than perfect. But isn't all art less than perfect? It's all representative of who's looking at it. I've recently started working in Adobe Express Beta, and there are limitations to it, just like there are limitations to any of the art. And when it comes to artwork, and Meganathan, you talked about just write positive prompts. I'm just going to go back to what you were saying. Garbage in, garbage out, But when it comes to Dolly or Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, which you didn't mention, there are things called negative prompts, where you have a large prompt telling the AI generator exactly what you want it to do, but it doesn't understand necessarily that human beings only have 5 fingers, or a unicorn only has one horn, or we don't have a nose under our ear. It's learning that, and you have to teach it like it's a third grader, over and over and over and over again, until the AI becomes your personal assistant and understands, oh, I know what Oz wants now. I'm not going to put 6 fingers on a hand anymore because a negative prompt is telling me not to do that. Okay. It's telling me not to create anything ugly. It's telling me not to do this and not to do that. You really have to treat the AI like a child until it understands this is exactly what he wants me to do, over and over and over again, and have that conversation, whether you're doing market research or anything, so that the AI understands exactly what you want. And you may have to go 8, 9, 10, 12 iterations so that it goes, oh, now I really understand exactly what Meganathan is telling me what to do, in a conversation just like you're talking to a human being.
So that's an interesting analogy, Oz. You're going to kind of this, let's train a child, and what I've heard others say is, if you train it well enough, like what Meganathan is suggesting here, it actually becomes not only your assistant, like we've kind of been mentioning before, but a pretty a pretty high level assistant. Like it can do some things that it's hard for humans to do, and it has trouble with other things. But if you know exactly how it, I think, again, I was listening to some professionals, influencers, and just others who are using this, and they literally are saying that if you train it for just a little while, it can act as like a graduate level or a master's level professional, like Meganathan was talking about. If you take some time to do that, can you imagine having that at your disposal almost all the time? A graduate level person that, has some limitations as far as experience, but has all the data access you could ever want. So if we're in an age of information, that's shifting to kind of an age of, what did we call it last time, Meganathan? Age of application, where we're trying to grab all this information and trying to apply it properly. That's super interesting. Joel Snyder, do you have any thoughts on this conversation? I know you've been using these tools a little bit. Can you explain a little bit of maybe your use case, or what you found interesting, or what you liked about what Meganathan was saying here?
Yeah, well, Meganathan is just, continues to expand our thoughts about application of using these kinds of tools. And I've had the privilege of working with him on some client projects. And he truly, digs deep and delivers a quality product. And when it comes to using the AI tools, what I've been doing is using it for ideation, starting concepts, because it's not human. And if you have best practices in your head, and you know what buyer psychology is, and you can apply your experience to content that's produced, then you're able to really guide and direct it, kind of like Oz is talking about teaching it. But beyond that, to be able to go in and say, I need to accomplish this project, give it to me on a doctorate level, or give it to me on a high school level or a 5th grade level. There's different ways that you can direct the responses so that the human experience then can be applied to it. And then you have something that you can produce that's consumable.
It's so fun to be able to have power partners within, different networks and groups, and just the industry of marketing. And I love the respect level that is happening on so many levels right now. It's just super cool. Joel, Thiessen, you said you had a question for Meganathan. Depending on what part of the world you're in, you can pronounce Meganathan's name in several ways. So I just like saying it. I don't know. There's like two. I have a brother named Nathan, and then like he's so Meganathan is so mega. So I don't know how. I don't know. I just get really excited. So what do you got?
You guys all three of you guys that were talking had mentioned training AI, like training ChatGPT. when you train ChatGPT, does it keep the training from conversation to conversation, or are you just talking about that repetitive, this is what I want, now let's adjust it to be this, now let's adjust it to be this, or does it remember from conversation to conversation what you're teaching it?
Great question. Meganathan, what have you seen when it
Yes.
comes to, does it remember the previous conversations, or is it just remembering the current conversation?
So that's an interesting question. So what has happened is that, remember that with every interaction with ChatGPT, according to the terms and conditions, it is constantly learning. And so it will be learning from what we are inputting into that system. That's how it's even increasing the amount of information that it has. So for
Okay,
me,
so let's assume if that's correct,
mhm,
and I'm interrupting here a little bit, Meganathan, just because of the video. That's the only reason.
yes,
So if you want to chat something in the chat box, or get it to us some other way, that's totally fine. But if I'm understanding you, what you just said well, and trying to summarize it, is it's learning not only from everybody else's prompts and conversations, and it's kind of informing a little bit to what you're doing, but it's really learning on your account. Your account is starting to become its own persona. It's starting to become its own version of ChatGPT for you. And that's why we were using those analogies before. And then it sounds like, I could be wrong. Maybe you can give us a nod or a yes or something or a no or whatever, but it sounds like if I'm talking to ChatGPT about that tax question I had, and then the medical question I had, and then the marketing question I had, and then I was talking to a preacher one time. I'm like, you need to use ChatGPT to get yourself some basic outlines, because uh, we all get in a rut and start preaching about, talking or speaking about certain things, and it's just not quite as maybe as relevant as what it was before, or something. Like, let's get some fresh language. If even using synonyms, hey ChatGPT, give me some synonyms, uh, remove this word from this whole prompt and put in synonyms, and let's refresh this whole concept. Maybe a course you did 10 years ago, let's refresh it with some new analogies, examples, and synonyms, acrostics, all sorts of things. Okay, so it'll learn that stuff from conversation to conversation, Meganathan, or is it kind of just hinting at that?
yeah. So in my understanding, I mean, I'm not too sure about that. My assumption is that on each of these profiles that you would be creating, it has a history of your conversation that you have trained it with.
It makes sense, right? That's how they're actually doing it anyway, from a larger standpoint. So why wouldn't they do it within your own account?
Yes. And
Okay,
then,
okay.
mhm.
Joel, do you have anything else as we wrap up today? Christine, I want to make sure that you can give us kind of like the 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 things to consider about this conversation, but then also what we're doing tomorrow and some things like that. Any last questions for Meganathan?
Is there a difference in quality between the different AIs, like ChatGPT, Google Bard? Like, what's the difference between them?
So each one of these systems, they call them LLMs. So there's large language models that this information comes from. So it depends on the information that each one of these companies, whether it's Google, the access that it has to information that will give you different feedback that you're looking for. So that's why you would need to try out these different tools. Today, the focus was about ChatGPT, but of course, there's Google Bard and so many others that are even in LLMs that are being created in narrow domains like medicine, education, that people will be selling access to in the days to come. So each one of these need to be tried out to get a different response. Some will be better than others.
That's super interesting. Another application that I was on a business meeting yesterday. Somebody was pitching me the idea of maybe investing in their business in one way, shape, or form. And I didn't know a ton about the business. I had just been introduced by somebody else and then kind of got involved in the conversation. And there was like 6 of us there. And so there was a bunch of people giving a lot of information. I typed in the business name with a Google extension built on AI. I can mention that to you if somebody wants to reach out to me, that's fine. But uh, I used the extension and it gave me a whole breakdown of exactly what was going on. I could prompt it with questions that were already pre-populated, and I could look obviously at the normal like Google stuff, like their reviews and kind of articles that were written about them, whether they were a scam or not, whether they were legit business or not. All that stuff was typical stuff on Google. But then there was an AI-based assistant built into the search itself. And so I got the best of both worlds sitting right there on my screen. And so there's these tools that are like coming out. Some of them, they come out and then they get like, they shift gears and they shut down because the API isn't working as much anymore or whatever. But the point is this one's been around for a while and it's working. So I just keep using it and it's no cost. And it actually gives you access to pretty advanced stuff. So just the fact that this is starting to bubble up on just kind of some of the ways we've already been using the tools is super rad. So, hey, Christine, wrap us up. Put a pretty bow on this conversation, please. You're doing such a great job at facilitating all this, and we're kind of tag teaming some of this, and we just really appreciate you.
Well, I love these topics, and I have to say I've been enjoying it just because I've had an opportunity to work in the background and see how they train these chats. So I've seen that side of it, and then I've used the other side of it with building a website. I did one this weekend and working on the content on that. It was like amazing. And I know there's some controversy. I've got clients that don't want to use it because they want to be authentic, right? And I don't want the same thing. And what if it doesn't accurately reflect who I am? So we're advanced now compared to where we were before, because I've seen websites developed with this, 5 years ago, but they weren't very good. Now we've gotten to a point where it's really worth taking a look at. It really is. We've had some great insights today, and I have to say our audience has been loving it. They've been blowing up the chat. So, Meganathan, you're going to have to go back and answer some questions, I think.
Meganathan.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and just to remind everybody, if you want to talk to him in more detail about it, right? We've been scrolling to make an appointment with him, right? So your bit.ly/AI specialist.
That's
is
a good bit.ly,
an appointment with them.
That's a good bit.ly right there. Come on.
It is.
Nobody
Right. I
had
saw
AI
that.
specialist
Perfect.
all lowercase. They didn't have AI specialist lowercase. What in the world? That's awesome. So
Right. How was that not taken already? Right.
come on.
So book an appointment with him. He knows his stuff when it comes to AI, and some of the hints and tricks that he can teach you will just be incredible, right? Time saving, right?
Cool.
We know that it's not human. We got to go in and fix things. We got to adjust things, but man, it puts you off on a good start and saves you time. And thank you so much, Meganathan, for sharing your knowledge base with us today.
Gives you all the tools to build the house, right? So, hey, Christine, what are we doing tomorrow? Can you give
Yeah, well, tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday is networking for marketers. So any marketers out there that want to come play with us, maybe you've been working by yourself saying, I'd like to have other people to bounce ideas off of and things. We're great for that. Maybe you've been thinking about like to get more business. How do I white label my services? Come talk to us, right? We're an open networking there for Wednesdays. Come hang out with us. If you want to know more about that, put that in chat also and say networking, right? But you can sign up if you go to givermarketing.com/networking, and that'll get you where you can register for our Zoom meeting. And we meet every Wednesday. Come on, come play with us. We're fun.
All right. givermarketing.com/networking. Blessings. We'll see you guys next week or tomorrow if you dare. All right. Talk to you soon.